I want to bring in my strategists right now, Tara Dowdell and Evan Siegfried and Gabriela Dubenzine, former campaign deputy manager for Martin O'Malley and former Obama campaign spokesperson. Welcome to all of you. Busy day.
Thank you. Thank you.
On the political front. So as we mentioned that Cory Booker held his rally, kickoff rally today, he's calling his campaign the Justice for All tour. And he didn't shy away from taking a shot at the president. Here's a listen.
We can't wait when this administration is throwing children fleeing violence into cages, banning Muslims from entering the nation founded on religious liberty, and preventing brave transgender Americans from serving the country they love. And we can't wait because many of our most serious challenges as a nation were with us long before Donald Trump entered the White House.
You kind of got a sense there that he has Trump as a unifying message there. Gabrielle, I want to start with you on this, get your take. Will Trump be the universal strategy among candidates?
I mean, I think what we learned in the last election is that you can't just go against somebody. You have to express your own point of view and your own vision. What I like about what Cory Booker, said, besides the fact that compassion is in his headlines of his campaign motto, is he's talking to an expanded base, which all Democrats need to be mindful of, especially in a crowded race.
Yeah, and he didn't try to take in any lane, Evan, in particular. You have so many of these candidates, as I've mentioned. Eric Swalwell will be mentioning gun rights. Mayor Buttigieg might be talking religion come tomorrow. We have Inslee talking environment. He tried to present a broad lane.
I was very underwhelmed by Cory Booker's announcement.
Are you ever overwhelmed by any of the Democrats?
Yes, Buttigieg, for example. He's doing very well. But Cory Booker, he came off more as an infomercial pitchman than a presidential candidate. I'm Cory Booker, and you won't believe what this stain remover can do. Let's be honest. Cory Booker already had a campaign announcement on February 1st. So this is the second campaign announcement. They had to delay this by several hours because they couldn't find enough people to actually be in the crowd for the rally. His fundraising numbers are anemic. His poll numbers are in the toilet. This is a very, very struggling campaign. There's no enthusiasm behind it. Look at Pete Buttigieg, who's actually going out and speaking to audiences and drawing record crowds. Cory Booker, he has to find them. It's night and day.
I mean, it was a beautiful day in Newark. We haven't had a beautiful day in a while.
I don't think that the weather is any indication of an endorsement, though.
Well, Tara, I mean, to pick up on that, I mean, what sense do you get of where his campaign is? Is it struggling? He's not even necessarily registering on most of the recent polls in Iowa and New Hampshire, 3% and 4%, respectively.
Well, I think it's always good for us to stipulate at the outset of any of these segments is that it is very early in this cycle, right? While you can glean trends and patterns, it is still very early. I would say this. It's smart to have a second announcement because when you're competing in a crowded field, you want to get any earned media that you can. So what I mean by earned media is you want to get free publicity. So the fact that we're sitting here talking about his campaign right now is still a win for his campaign. So strategically, you want to use any angle you can to try to get some traction within the news media cycle.
I'm sure his campaign calls it a win when I note that they've just been...
Well, you're a Republican. Wait, here we go.
I still call things fairly.
You're a Republican strategist, so people are Democrats listening.
And I praised a Democratic candidate in the same breath.
You praised the Democratic candidate that has become a media darling. So part of why we see movement for Buttigieg is because he's getting so much attention.
I'm
not just from the base, from the media in many ways. I'm not criticizing his campaign. I think if I'm Buttigieg's team, I'm taking full advantage of all this media attention that I'm getting. But, you had Kamala Harris raise $12 million. She is a woman of color. She is a black woman. She is an Asian woman. And so to have a candidate of her caliber raise $12 million, even with all of her accomplishments, it's an achievement because women candidates do not have struggle with fundraising. And so when she raised that money, the first response was that shows that Buttigieg's lower number by the media was his lower number is a good number. So I mean, there's
significant
some
7 million where he came from out of nowhere.
But to benchmark it, but it wasn't benchmarked against any of the other candidates who raised less money.
who were big names for years ongoing.
No, but I'm saying Beto raised less than Kamala, and he wasn't benchmarked against Buttigieg. That's my point.
Understood.
So I think we have to move away from the media spin and into the reality of the ground.
It's such, I think you're absolutely right. It's such a crowded race, right? So any opportunity, whether it's making a hologram of yourself or, you know, another campaign announcement, is making us talk about this. But somebody is going to have to permeate, and somebody is going to have to shine through. Again, what I liked about Cory Booker, whether you call it an underwhelming announcement or not, is that he took on specific things that the president has in his crosshairs. The first thing he mentioned in that clip you mentioned is that we're putting kids in cages. He's leaning into these things where we do need a moral and ethical response from whoever wants to lead this country.
But Gabrielle,
and a lot of the other Democratic candidates are doing that too.
You worked a presidential campaign before. If you were on a campaign right now, would you rather be on the Booker campaign with wherever that is in the polls and money raising, or Buttigieg right now?
I don't want to work another presidential campaign. I did two already.
But I mean, just from like a poll position standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm looking for is, you know, my specialty in these campaigns weren't your block voters. It was how to expand your electorate. And that's what these Democrats are going to need to do, right? So I think, you know, as far as Buttigieg and as far as Cory Booker, right now, Cory Booker has said many more things that ring true to my heart that I want to hear presidential candidates say, but it's so early. But we have to name it. We have to name the cruelty and the division that this president is sowing. And that's why I'm enthusiastic about the Democratic field.
Well, if you're talking about expanding the electorate to Democrats, I think that Pete Buttigieg is actually doing a better job than Cory Booker or any other of the candidates. Why? He's going out and taking on Mike Pence on his own terms. Mike Pence always invokes religion in politics. And look at how Buttigieg has knocked him back on his heels. No other candidate is doing that. They're just putting platitudes to the Democratic base. And if it's saying Donald Trump is bad, Democrats already agree on that. That's not expanding the electorate.
But you know what a lot of this electorate is. And you know a lot of the people who will vote in the general election. Are we ready for a gay mayor from South Bend, Indiana? And will he be able to beat Trump?
I'm ready for a gay mayor from South Bend, Indiana, or from New York City, or from Sheboygan.
No, but I mean, in the middle of the country, will they vote for him?
I think there are plenty of younger voters out there who think that he's great, and they could be on the more conservative side, too.
I don't think that, first of all, let me say this, Evan. First of all, Democrats aren't just speaking in platitudes, as Evan just said. There are very specific policies that Democrats have been advancing. The question is, when the coverage comes out, the coverage is around what they say about Trump. But they're speaking very specifically with reams of policy initiatives. Cory Booker has talked about baby bonds. He's talked about criminal justice reform. He has legislation, a policy legislative action that he can use to back that up. Opportunity zones. All of these candidates. Elizabeth Warren has laid out, I mean,
just laid out a tax
plan. Many platforms. So I want to correct the record. When these candidates are talking to voters face to face, they are talking about the issues overwhelmingly. With respect to can someone win, people didn't think President Obama, a black man, could win. People did not believe that. So I don't think we need to, I don't think it's a smart policy for Democrats or smart politics for Democrats to engage in can this person win, can that person win based on race, gender, or sexual orientation.
Thank you. Man, that silence, that 10-second silence was deafening, and you really got a sense of the pain that she's still feeling there. But you kind of also have to imagine that every time the president attacks her late husband and sends a tweet out against her late husband, it kind of rubs a little bit tough on them.
Yeah, it's so absolutely outrageous that the president continues to attack John McCain, who is a great man, who served this country. Whether you agreed with him or not, he really embodied the greatness of America. And I think Senator McCain's final floor speech in the Senate at the height of the repeal and replace debate in 2017, when he lamented the lack of deliberation of our politics and how we don't talk about laws and how we have retreated to our tribal corners and we don't commingle. I mean, as Mrs. McCain said, he and Ted Kennedy would fight like cats and dogs, but they'd still go out and have a good time after and talk about things and see how they could come together for the greater good. And I don't think we do that as much anymore.
And what do you make of her response to all of that and watching her during that interview there with Cynthia, in the sense that she didn't seem as angry as many of us would expect her to be? Mind you, she's going through a lot.
I think that shows the class and dignity that she has, unlike the people attacking her, specifically the President of the United States.
All right. Thanks. Thank you very much, Evan.